others, is a form of ibadah, is a form of worship as well. And for all of these things, the following does come into this, right? Your intention, your sincerity, obstacles come into every form of worship. So the first, so this section is called the impediments. So there's four things Imam Ghazali mentions on the third hurdle. The third hurdle is actually four impediments, which are the dunya, the world itself and what it brings of distractions and desires and whims and things like that, decorations of this dunya. The creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the khalq, so other people really, that's what it means here. The khalq of Allah is other human beings and how they can either be for or against you. And in general, most of the time they're against you, right? Or they don't actually help you, let's say. And third of all is the shaitan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created a being called Iblis. That's the name of the jinn, that's a Satan, that's a devil, etc. Has a satanic nature and is an enemy to humans, right? And he's out for the destruction of mankind. And we'll talk about that inshallah. And the fourth impediment is yourself, is the nafs, is the ego, right? The nafs al-ammara bisu, the nafs that commands to evil or to wrong or to desires or to distractions, and how to overcome that impediment as well, inshallah ta'ala. So these are the four things. This is like what we're going to talk about today, inshallah. And how we'll do it today is we're probably going to go all the way to Salat al-Maghrib. And when we break for Salat al-Maghrib, we'll conclude the lesson as well, because there'll be time for prayer, and by the time we come back, it'll be past 8:30, etc. So we're going to go to about 8:15 today, and then we'll break, and the ladies can pray in the prayer room over there, and the brothers will go into the main hall, and we'll pray in there, inshallah ta'ala. So the four things we're discussing today are the world, the dunya, the creation, the creation, second, khalq, shaitan, and the nafs, inshallah ta'ala. So first of all, the world, right? This world has been created for us, for humans, created for, and jinn as well, for the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is mukallaf, that has a responsibility to live in this world and move on to the next world. So this dunya, as is often said, is temporal, it's faniya, it's ending, it's transient. You're going to move on from this world. This is the nature of this world. It's not permanent, it's not everlasting, it's not forever. It's got its time, its place, and it will finish. Nobody has lasted forever. We all will die as well, and this world will eventually come to an end. There's only a limited amount of people that will live on this world, however many billions it is, but they will come to an end one day, and we will move on to the next life. So we're not here forever. This isn't the goal, to make this the final abode or the goal of our lives, to establish something here and then enjoy it forever, is not what is going to happen. We have an akhirah, or a next life, to prepare for. So this world is a passage to the akhirah, is the path to the next life. So we have to use it for good. It's not all bad, right? Prophet told us in the hadith, the dunya is accursed. The-dunya mal'oonun or mal'oonatun, mal'oonun ma fiha. And everything in it is accursed, is far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and any good. Then he explains, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except for the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Except for the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, worship, anything good. Even if you're helping somebody, that's the dhikr of Allah. Being smiling, it's a sunnah. Like obeying your parents. And that which coincides or agrees with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So not just the dhikr literally, but anything that is in line with remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the Prophet said as the third thing, the teacher and the student. Al-alim al-muta'allim. Right, so these three things were accepted, were taken out from the things which are of no worth. So, doesn't mean here your job is not good. It's a curse. No, your job is that which follows with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because your intention of having a job is to support your family, is to give charity, is to do good things with it, and support yourself and be independent and have more time for ibadah and have more ability, greater ability to do good in life, right? Wealth empowers a person to do things, right? But if it's not for that intention, if it's for other reasons, whatever they are, not no good reason, just worldly or even negative reasons, then it's not part of the dhikr of Allah or that which follows the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so it's then accursed. So we decide a lot of things for which category they fit in with our intention. So this is what we're going to talk about, inshallah ta'ala. So what we need to have in this dunya is to take the amount of dunya that we need for the akhirah. That's really what we should try and find a balance for. And I remember recently our Sheikh teacher, Sheikh Muhammad Ali Yaqubi, they were in the UK and they mentioned, and it really stuck with me, this saying. They mentioned that I said, take as much of the dunya as you like. Take as much of the dunya as you like. It's not haram, it's all mubah, we call it permissible halal, right? Take as much of dunya, of the halal of dunya as you like. But be prepared for the same amount of worries and difficulties and anxieties and concerns, right? People with money, what have they got? They don't even know if their friends are truly their friends or they're after their money. That's one of the, and I know a few people who are wealthy, they tell me this, like we don't know who's genuinely, good to us or they just after our money, right? Because you take a lot of the dunya, you take with it a lot of, just time consumption in one of it, isn't it? Because to get money and to use it takes a lot of your time, right? So, with that comes a lot of, preoccupation, concerns, just being, busy with the dunya. So take as much of dunya as you want, but be ready then to take as much of those worries and concerns that come with that, right? So it's, we're talking about the halal of the dunya, of course. So what we need to do then is to have zuhd. So Imam Ghazali says that the way forward, or first of all, actually talks about the reasons why we shouldn't get engrossed in the dunya. And he says two reasons. One, the more you go to the dunya, the weaker your ibadah is, because this is what it's about, right? We want to worship Allah. The more you're engrossed in dunya, the more distractions you'll have in your worship. The more you're engrossed in dunya, the less time you'll have for worship, right? The less quality you'll have in worship, and so forth. Dunya takes away from your ibadah directly. It's the east and west. The more you go to the east, the further you go from the west. We said this, right? The dunya is like this. It takes you away from ibadah and your presence of heart, etc. And second of all, he mentions a beautiful reason, rahimahullah ta'ala, of having zuhd. And he says the one that has zuhd, just the fact, zuhd by the way, let's talk about that a little bit. The one that is away from the dunya, let's say, we'll explain zuhd in a moment. The one that is away from the dunya doesn't have an attachment to the world, doesn't have this, internal attachment. Physically, we're not talking about that. You've got the dunya or not in your hands is not the issue here. Where's your heart? The less of the dunya you have in your heart, the less attachment you have to the dunya in your heart, the more beloved your worship is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for this, Imam Ghazali quotes a hadith where the Prophet said that the best of actions are from the heart, qalbin zahid. The qalb that is zahid. I know you might know some people called zahid, and zahida for the feminine form. It's a beautiful name. But zahid actually means that individual, zahid and zahida, who has no attachment to the world, who's, doesn't feel like I need this, I need that. Whether the dunya comes or not, whether they have everything in the world or they have nothing of this world, their heart is not attached to this world. They say in some ways of putting it, they say the dunya is in your hands, not in your heart. So it's not about you've got dunya. A pauper who's got nothing, could be heavily attached to this world. Because it's about the heart. Right? Look at what he's got, look at what she's got, look at what they've got, look, I haven't got this, I haven't got that. That's in the heart that's attached to the world, but it hasn't got anything. It hasn't, got any of the paraphernalia, what you call it, the things of this world. But it's attached. That's a disease, that's a problem. Right? The cure to it, or the opposite to it, is zuhd, to detach. Yes, somebody could have all the world, wealth, belongings and whatever, and yet it hasn't got an attachment to it, whether it comes and goes. And this was the Sahaba. They were able, many of the Sahaba, and even after the Sahaba, they were able to give away all their wealth. I don't think that's practical today, but can anybody give all their wealth? Like, when I say all, I mean literally, other than the clothes on their back, right? Other than what they're wearing and the basic things they have, like a few utensils. Give all your savings. Go to your savings account, empty it out, and donate it to guidance. So, Bismillah. Who's willing, right? Zakat, we'll pass it on to zakatable people. Bismillah. No? There you go, right? Attachment to the world does not allow you, and all of us, myself included, to empty the savings account. We want to save something because of the attachment, the worries as well, of course, right? And that was Iman, of course. The Sahaba had strong, we can't fathom their faith, the level of their Iman and detachment from this world. Alhamdulillah, they were the companions, they were students of the Prophet ﷺ. So they were taught by the best, and they were the best generation. May Allah be pleased with them, and Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as well. So this is really, what having detachment from the world does. It makes your worship so much better, right? Zahid, Zuhud. So the Imam Ghazali explains Zuhud. He says Zuhud, detachment from this world. So I'm going to translate Zuhud as detachment. In this translation, in other translations, they often translate it as abstinence, as doing without. I've explained to you, you may have all the world, it's not doing without physically. You may have all the world, but you've got Zuhud, you've got detachment. Right? The Prophet said in a hadith, or a man came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said to the Prophet ﷺ, O Messenger of Allah, dullani ala amalin, guide me to an action, yuhibbani Allah, that Allah will love me through the action, wa yuhibbani an-nas, and the people will love me from this action. The Prophet ﷺ replied, izhad fi dunya yuhibbaka Allah. Have zuhud, detach yourself from this world, and Allah will love you. Izhad fima inda nas yuhibbaka an-nas, and detach yourself from what the people have. Zuhud, the word was used, right? The command of the verb of do zuhud, basically, and the people will love you. So what is zuhud? Is to detach yourself, right? People want, the world, they want to compete for the deal, there's investments, there's this, leave it for the people. Detach yourself. Your risk is written, you're going to get everything, don't worry. You've got plenty. Don't compete for this world with people, and people will love you. That's for the people. And leave the dunya in general, Allah will love you. There's certain ways that are mentioned in the Quran and Hadith, and we should really look at these things, right? That make you beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, this is an exercise. Let's get you involved. Those of you know in my classes, I don't like to talk. I don't teach like a lecturer. I'm not a very lecturer person, as you can see. I'm more of a conversationalist, right? Let's have a conversation. How do you attain the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There's certain actions or characteristics in the Quran and the Sunnah that Prophet guided us to, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that make you beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's see what you know. Can you share with us something that you know that makes you beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I say obvious, but let's see what you know. Bismillah. Open floor. Anybody want to share something? So I've given you one, zuhud. Yeah, you can't use that one. Right? If you detach yourself from this world, Allah loves you. Number one, right? Let's make a list. So you go home and practice these things. Because who do you want to be beloved to? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? We want our parents to love us. It's an amazing thing when you want our children to love us. You want everyone to love us, right? We want the community, we want our friends. Love is a beautiful thing when people appreciate you. Love is genuine love, right? Unconditional love. But the love of Allah is the greatest, right? The pleasure of Allah is the best thing you could ever attain, right? So we want to do that. How? Dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, yeah, I believe that's one. I don't know a hadith or Quranic ayah for it, but it probably is one, yes. There's young hand there. Salawat, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yes. So zikr, salawat, yes. Seeking beneficial knowledge, indeed. So if you seek knowledge, you become beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes.
Voluntary prayers such as tahajjud and all that.
Good. Can you give me a hadith for that? That's a really good one. There's a step before that, actually. There's a hadith about this, about worship. So the hadith says that the most beloved way, the best way my slave gets closer to me is through the fard, through the obligations. And then he continues to do the nafil, like you said, the nawafil, until I love him. So yes, if you establish the fard first, that's the best thing, what Allah loves the most for people to do. And then you are continuous. He says, La yazalu abdi yataqarrabu ilayya bin nawafil. My servant continues to come closer to me through the nawafil. Hatta uhibbahu, until I love him. So yes, nafil worship makes you beloved to Allah. Like tahajjud, like nafil fast, like sadaqah, on top of your zakat and etc. Regular small acts of charity make you beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Good. So that's definitely one. So we should try and incorporate that into our lives. Nafil acts. And this is why actually they say it's disliked to leave a nafil act. So you do nafil, the actual methodology of it is to make it regular in your life, because Allah loves that. So if you stop it, what does it mean? You're stopping something that Allah has loves, that likes from you, right? So to be regular and to love and to do the nafil acts should be done with a level of maintenance, like permanence, right? And that's another actually category of action that's beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It couples with the nafil. The most beloved of actions to Allah in a hadith, Prophet said, are the ones that are the most continuous, the most perpetual, right? Adwamuha wa in qalla, even if they're small. This is one. There's actually hadith on that. The most beloved, ahabbul a'mali ilallah, adwamuha, are the most dawam, da'iman. Right? You know the word da'iman, right? Da'iman means always, perpetual, continuous, never ending, da'iman, right? These are the most beloved actions, even if they're small. This is the hadith. Wa in qalla, even if they are, not massive things, right? 2 rakats, £1 of charity a week, right? Regular donate, regularly going and helping somewhere a weekly, homeless feed, or volunteering somewhere on a weekly basis, a monthly basis. Regular acts, right? Try and set up regular things, right? Reading the Quran regularly. Don't make it erratic. Make your worship regular. This is what Allah loves. So if you think about it, Ramadan, it's got regulations, timings. Salah, it's got its timings. Zakat, once a year. Everything in Islam that Allah has legislated itself has a like a pattern or a kind of order to it. It's got an order to it. So similarly, we should have order in our worship. That's what it means here. Be regular and orderly and efficient in a sense in your worship. That's what Allah loves. Not one day you come on the night of Laylatul Qadr in Ramadan and you're up all night and you've done 1,000 nafil, Allahu Akbar, and tomorrow you've missed your Fajr prayer. That's not how it works, is it? Right? May Allah bless you, but that's not what Allah wants. That's not how you become a worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So okay, let's carry on. We need to move swiftly. Yes, Shaykh Anashim? Sorry? Yes, inna Allah yuhibbut tawwabin. There's another category with the same kind of thing. With the other, you say this after wudu. So what do you do in wudu? Purify yourself. So inna Allah yuhibbut tawwabin wa yuhibbul mutatahhirin. Right? So tawbah, repentance, makes you beloved. And also pure cleanliness, hygiene, both inwardly and outwardly, characteristics, and obviously physical hygiene, makes you beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes. Any other categories? Yes?
Being grateful.
Yes, being grateful. Allah loves the shakireen. That being grateful makes you beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything else? Does anybody know anything? No? Inna Allah ma'as sabirin, yuhibbu sabirin. It is mentioned beloved for the sabir. Of course Allah loves that, but I think there's actual ayah regarding that. Allah is with the patient, without a doubt. There's a massive reward for patience. Anything else? So we mentioned the good. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Mention me and I will mention you. Right? If Allah recognizes you, He loves you. So dhikr of Allah we mentioned. Anything else? Yes? In a sense, yeah, of course, loyalty and allegiance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything else? No? Can we think of anything? Yes, good. Taking care of orphans, right? Taking care of orphans is something that makes you beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What I'm trying to think of directly is if there are any Quranic ayat or hadith regarding these things, right? So Allah loves the muhsineen, let's say. Inna Allah yuhibbul muhsineen, right? Those who do good to others. That's mentioned in the Quran. Allah loves the muhsineen, right? Those who do good to others. Those who are good to others, who are excellent in their interaction, conduct with other people, right? So that's something to think about. Allah loves those who have good akhlaq, who have good manners and are good to others, right? I can't think of anything else. Like I think of a hadith or an ayah that, oh yes, you actually, the same here, it's an ayah, it's a hadith. It says the most beloved of Allah's creation to Him are the most beneficial to His creation. So obviously doing good, but also helping, whether it's lifting something for someone or, teaching someone something good or whatever. So, أَحَبُّ الْخَلْقِ إِلَى اللَّهِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِعِيَالِ اللَّهِ. The most beloved of creation to Allah are the most beneficial to the dependence of Allah, to the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more you benefit people, the more you become beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you look at this actually, if you look at what makes you beloved to Allah, you'll think you could sum it up in one way. Follow the sunnah. In kuntum tuhibbun Allah fattabi'uni. If you love Allah, then follow me, Allah will love you. If we follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will love us. Right? And in the sunnah is everything. The door to all good, every action, every etiquette, manner, good thing is in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're coming back to this, right? So we kind of went off topic a bit there. What is detached from this world? Detached from this world is categorized as three things by Imam Ghazali. Number one, don't seek what you don't have. Constantly seeking things, this deal, that deal, this, shopping, that shopping, this handbag, this car, this watch, this mobile phone. Constantly seeking things that you don't have is a contradiction to zuhud. So stopping that, in other words. That's what zuhud is. That's in what Imam Ghazali calls your zuhud maqdur, what you're able to do. You're able to stop this constant search for worldly things. Number two, give away part of what you already have. That helps you detach. So what we're saying is, how do I detach from this world? How do I get this detachment in my heart? First of all, stop seeking the world. Just stop going after the world, right? Apart from the obligations, you need money to survive. You've got your job and your income, but don't start amassing wealth and building bank balances and amassing collections of things and stuff. Human nature is to do that, by the way. We love as humans to collect, right? Allah says in the Quran, right, that humankind thinks he gathers his wealth. Jama'a malam wa addada. He gathers his wealth and he counts it. يحسب أن ماله أخلدا. He thinks that his wealth is going to make him live forever. Right, so we do this. Human nature, Allah tells us in the Quran, it's human nature to do this, but it's wrong. It's not correct, right? It's not going to get us anywhere, right? What we need to do is think about what we said earlier, to use this dunya for the akhirah. So get that away from that. Stop amassing this world. Stop, going after it, and start giving away something as well. And third of all, Imam Ghazali mentions is what he says is, don't have a desire for the world, right? Don't try and remove the desire for the world, right? Because okay, you're amassing the world, you're going after it. Stop that, right? Stop seeking that. You're going to stop. You're going to give away something of what you have. But also stop just thinking about, fantasizing about having the world, and stop thinking of it as well. Don't put that in your head. So stop thinking of, have no choice. Like, just decide not to have anything of this world. Leave choosing this world, right? Choose Allah, in other words. Then he says there's something that we can't really control, and that is the amount of dunya we have. Right? So let's put it another way: the amount of dunya that we're decreed to have, because we always choose what we earn and what we don't earn. But everyone's going to have a different level of their dunya and attachment to it as well. So your test as an individual is unique. Everyone's got a test of this world, right? How much of this world do I have to bear up with and deal with? Everyone's got their own individual amount as decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not in your ability, but whatever you have is within your ability to deal with. Not in your ability to control how much and levels, but the decree of it, of course, right? Of course, in physically and everyday life, you decide what to do, what not to, but that's part of the decree, of course. What you have to do in all of that, what Imam Ghazali says, is have zuhud. So it's coming to me, but I'm not attached to it. It's decreed for me. That's how we see it. But I'm not going to be excited by it, right? The more money I get, I'm not going to be like, the world is good for me. The less money I get, the world is bad for me. Take it as it comes and leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the things he says about zuhud is he says that it's obligatory to have detachment from that which is haram. It's actually optional to have a detachment from that which is permissible. Obviously, whatever's disliked is better. It's recommended to avoid it, of course, and rewarded. So things like just, eating an extra morsel or doing simple things of this world, or doing things that are permissible is better, is optional, but is better for your akhirah to avoid as much as possible and to stay away from distractions. Because the more, like we said earlier, going back to the beginning, the more you take of this world, the more there is to bear up with. There's a lot to say, but we'll move on because time is short. And the next thing that Imam Ghazali talks about in this section is the creation. The creation, i.e. other people. And the first thing Imam Ghazali mentions is that other people are a distraction in the sense of you may show off in front of other people. You may change your intention, or you change the way you do something, embellish your actions, and do them with more outward, goodness beautification, right? Because somebody's with you, because you want to do it for people rather than for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This goes back to what we talked about, riya, showing off, right? This is something that can creep in due to other people. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has tested us with creation. So then there's a long discussion that Imam Ghazali then goes into regarding the whole concept of mixing with people and staying away from people and the rulings on this. Right, so there's a lot of discussions, right? You should read the book really to get the detailed discussions. But we'll summarize them. And so first of all, Imam Ghazali kind of talks about the categories of people and the need for people, i.e. other things. So if somebody has a service they're offering, knowledge, teaching, etc., then you should accompany that person. You'll have to mix with that person to get your needs fulfilled. So you've got to go to a shop and meet a shopkeeper. Choose the pious one. Choose the good one. Not necessarily the most, the best deals and, everything. Because the best deals are the big corporations, right? And they haven't got morals and ethics in what they do, right? Legally, they're fine. Some even, illegal in some things they do, whatever, right? But they try to stay legal. They don't try to stay moral, right? So try and mix. If it's things that you need to mix with people and do things, then, choose good people, right? And this is what was the past. It wasn't, always getting the best deals and the cheapest deals, etc. It was about, because at the end of the day, if you're paying somebody who's a good person, alhamdulillah, I'm happy that not my wealth really, is it? But the wealth I was given trust of, let's say, I've passed it on to a pious person, a good person. Alhamdulillah. I'd rather do business with good people, whatever the costs are, than, certain, let's say, not necessarily evil people, but, immoral or, not so pious people that have shortcomings or, cut the corners kind of thing. And, you wouldn't want to be associated with them kind of thing. Just because it's a cheaper deal, because they're better at doing business or got more customers, etc. Right? So it's all about amassing wealth today and having quantity and etc. over quality, etc. But in Islam, it's not. It's about quality. So go for the quality, inshallah ta'ala. Of course, if you need people for worldly needs, etc., you're going to mix with them. That's fine. If you don't need somebody though, if somebody is just out there, creation in general, right? They're not your colleagues, they're not your family members, they're just strangers, or they are people that you may get to know and be friends with, but they don't actually have a good purpose, right? There's no benefit from their company other than distraction, other than maybe taking you down the wrong road or things like this. Then it's better, or it could be wajib, depending. So it's a whole category. Like I said, there's a lot of discussion in that. It could be fard, first of all. If they're taking you to haram, it's fard. If people are taking you to the haram, it's fard to stay away from them. If they're taking you to distraction, it's better to stay away from them. If they're not doing any bad with you or things like that, then okay, it's mubah. Of course, we all need friends, and this Imam Ghazali actually mentions this. Actually, he says that it's good to have companionship, and it's just a blessed thing. But there's etiquettes of companionship, right? Adab al-Sahbah. We went through this in one of our seminars on Saturdays for the Isnad classes that we have on Saturday mornings. We talked about Adab al-Sahbah and the rights of, your fellow companionship, etc. And for instance, one of them, Imam Ghazali mentions, is don't spend every single day together. Right? That's too much. The Prophet said, and quotes the hadith, Zur ghibban tazdad hubban. Like, visit each other every now and then, not constantly, right? Every other day, every few days, you will increase in love. Give time apart, hearts grow fonder, as they say, right? Don't constantly be in each other's spaces, company and time and place. Even though we do like our friends and we like to be amongst them, but it's nice to have a few days apart every now and then come back. This is actually prophetic advice. Actually increase you in love. It's better, right? So constantly being with someone can have its detriments as well. So it's good to have, breaks, right? Just to have time apart for a few days here and there. For certain people, it's going to be longer, but that's one of the etiquettes. Number two, one of the etiquettes mentioned here is to not have any, obviously, good companionship, not to lead to anything, not sin, of course, right? Of course, sin is out of the question, but even to like thinking you're better than others or you've got better companionship, because you can do it yourself in your own worship, in your own life, but so you can also do this with your friends. You think my friends are better than everybody else's friend, my company is better than other people's company, so I'm better off than people. Don't think of it like that. Thank Allah for your company, but don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare your company to others. That's not a way of thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank Allah for the fact that you have good company. That's it. Don't look down on others for the company they have. Thank Allah for the good company. that you have. You should know your company with others shouldn't lead you to think like that. And then he mentions a section here, which I think I want to quote really, it's very important. He said here, you should know that the path taken by these respected ulama, sheikhs, and the Sufis is the best path for them because this path contains three advantages. So he discusses the idea of these zawiyas, these khanqahs, right? You've heard of these words, right? Translated here as, what do you think about the ulama of the religious institutions and the Sufis and sheikhs? They do not lead a life of isolation. They do not lead life of isolation, retirement as you advise, even though they are mindful of devotion and of the affairs of the hereafter. So they do take time away, but they actually go to the prayers, they mingle, they go to the marketplace, etc. So, but they also have their time alone in their, places, institutes, wherever, the religious institutes. So he says, you should know that the path taken by these respected ulama, sheikhs and Sufis, the best path for them because this path contains three advantages. They remain away from the society of the people, their association of the people, and from their worldly affairs. So they're not involved in the business deals, they're not involved in the discussions, in politics, and what's going on. They're to one side. They're going to go and mingle and go to the shop. They're going to go and pray in the masjid or whatever needs to be done. They're going to work, right? But they're also going to stay away from all these distractions. They are able to attend congregation prayers on Fridays, Eids, and other days which form symbols of Islam. It's like having, almost like retirement, isn't it? You don't have to work and do anything, but you can still go and benefit from everything out there. They remain safe from the harms inherent in having contacts with the people. They are a source of benefit and blessings for the Muslims in general. Their good moral character and conduct become a model for others to follow. That is why many religious scholars and saints prefer to live among the people to enable the latter to benefit from them. They cause no harm to anyone. On the other hand, their people follow them in their righteous deeds as they serve as models for the general public. Says another question may arise in this behalf. So obviously, that's a scholar or a pious individual, religious scholar, saint. But how do we get there? So it says, should those who have successfully completed the various stages of tasawwuf and Sufism and spirituality live in the company of those who are still under training in this course, or should the trained and qualified ones live in isolation of the latter group? Right? So he answers this question. So should, the Sufi sheikhs and training, should they live in isolation and away from people, or should they mix with the people? It says if the individuals, if the people who are under training are following fully and satisfactorily the conduct and the way of the past Sufis and saints, there is no harm for the qualified sheikhs to live in the company of those under training, those who want to improve. It is advisable for them to live in isolation and of this group of trainees, with this group of trainees, because they will be of help to their senior sheikhs and Sufis, etc. So living together is good and beneficial, etc. However, if we come to today's day and age, which Imam Ghazali then talks about his day and age, 1,000 years ago, right, where people have, left the reality of spirituality and it's all become an outward show, then it's better for the people to busy themselves in the world and do a bit of dhikr, do a bit of, have a level of achieving taqwa, basically, right? And use those shuyukh and teachers as a source of guidance and inspiration to remain steadfast. That spiritual development may not be on the cards for everyone due to our engrossment in the world, due to and especially this world today. I mean, that was 1,000 years ago, Imam Ghazali saying that. Fast forward 900 years, 950 years, and we live in a totally different world, right? I mean, I don't know if you can get a prayer with peace in your mind, right? Let alone worship Allah and do dhikr constantly and build yourself and so forth, right? It's getting really tough. And the quality of worship, is being massively reduced today, right? One of the secrets of worship, and we're getting to the end, so it's hard to talk about a lot of things. One of the secrets of worship is the secret of worship. One of the secrets of worship is the secret of worship. Sounds weird, right? Is privacy. Today, the world we live in is about sharing everything, right? I'm in Makkah, selfie on the Kaaba, right? I'm doing this, right? I'm at a fundraiser, I'm doing this, everybody shows. For sometimes it's good to promote the good work and, get people involved, but it's not good in every single thing you do, right? It's actually a fake show of piety for most occasions, right? The detriment to that isn't merely showing off or, the riya aspect of it, whether it's there or not, is in the heart. But the problem with that, even if you're genuine, is sharing that loses the secret you have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's between you and Allah, and that's what should make you deem it special. It's, a secret is a very special thing between people. It's a big level of trust. So if Allah gives you something in your worship, you feel it, or if you are enabled and ennobled to do something great, and just even if it's just to pray tahajjud, let's say, you should start, sharing that with people or making it known to others, etc., etc., etc. Right? You should keep your personal achievements, openings, acts of worship between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like outwardly, you have to show a bit of the basics, the obligations, whatever, right? Uprightness. But whatever you do, your Quran recitation, your Durood Sharif, make it between you and Allah alone. That is what really will empower your worship and make your worship better and better and stronger and stronger. This is the secret of the worship, is to keep it secretive, right? Keep it confidential. It's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Keep it private. Very important, right? In life, certain things are better kept between. Confidentiality is a beneficial thing, it's not, certain people don't know certain things. There's benefit for everyone in that. Right? So similarly, for your personal worship and act of worship, keep that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a very private affair. Right? In the past, and even obviously something that we have is, they used to have something which was very common. It was called munajat. Munajat means intimate conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was something done. Right? This was, some of the ulama actually recorded to benefit. So obviously there is an element, we go back to the point here, that if everybody kept their worship secret and nobody showed anything, who are we going to learn from? So obviously some ulama, they're like heirs of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? They're the ones that set the example after him. May Allah be pleased with them all. They do have to show certain things. They do have to write books and teach and be guides to others, right? Be teachers to others. So some of them wrote their munajat. They wrote how they converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to teach us. Right? For us to read that and understand that and actually think, subhanallah, this is how you speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how a slave converses with his or her Lord, right? This is how we're supposed to be, right? This is how the great awliya and ulama and saints, this is how they said it. This is the etiquettes they had. This is what they mentioned. And one of the famous ones is the munajat of Imam Ibn Ata'illah As-Sakandari, rahimahullah ta'ala. So look into that, right? One of the things he says at the beginning, he says, "Oh my Lord, I am weak in my strength. I am weak in my strength. So how could I not be weak in my weakness? Like, or I am ignorant in my knowledge. How can I not be ignorant in my ignorance? In my apparent form of knowledge, I'm ignorant, right? How could I then not be ignorant in reality?" So this is how you speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You realize Allah is the one that provides everything. Before Allah, we have zero, nothing. Right? Allah gave us everything. So when you stand before Allah, we stand empty. We stand with no claims. Right? So this is how some of the munajat, these intimate conversations, these invocations to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have been recorded, alhamdulillah. So there's a few scholars, you find them in the books, right? They mention recorded. This one in particular is quite famous in the Muslim world. In Arabic, it's written, and I think it's translated actually as well. So that's something to look into, inshallah ta'ala. Next is Satan, but Satan hasn't got time because it's Maghrib time, right? So we wouldn't want him to stop us from the prayer. He's an enemy to us, right? So we go halfway through the impediments. So we talked today about the world, dunya, attachment, detachment. We're summarizing, so I would get the book. We only got 3-4 copies left, and we ordered about 20 more. So please do invest and read the book. And you probably have until next lesson, because then after that, our students in Saturdays are back, and we're going to give it to them, and they always buy all the books, so they'll be gone by then. Some of you are from Saturdays, mashallah. And second of all, we talked about, just now we've been talking about the creation and distraction, and alhamdulillah, we did some digressions, but it's important to talk about these things, about this personal level. And the world we live in today, be careful, people screenshot today, there's no privacy left, right? They record conversations and do all sorts, right? So be careful, to keep things between you and Allah. Be very aware of your surroundings, of people, and just keep it between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We live in a very, Big Brother world, I think I should call it, right? Big Brother, right? Spying on you and every movement, you can't do anything. That's the world today. That's the Dajjal, they say, in a sense, right? Big Brother's got one eye logo, I don't know if you know, right? It's Dajjal there for you, right? So we live in that world that's building up to that kind of mass communication, media. They're tracking every move on your mobile phone. One of these Chinese companies has got malware, spyware. They know everything you do, and they're taking all your details, and they, whatever, and they're spying. So this is the world we live in today. So get away from that, right? Get rid of your mobile phone. Right? I always try to. So I'm just recently, I got off WhatsApp, and the next day I was put back on. But as soon as I got back on and I'd done that thing, I wanted to get off again, and I really want to leave WhatsApp again at the moment. But it's obviously other things, work and duties and responsibilities. It's rude to leave it when others have asked you to be on it. I'm not anyway better than anyone or anything like that, but I genuinely feel I don't want to be on social media and WhatsApp. It's getting better, alhamdulillah. So I left Facebook. The brothers run my Facebook page. I don't even know what happened. They report to me. They go, "So you got this message from this person, quite a dangerous message the other day, that I think we had to report to the police as well and stuff," right? So we get all, I don't know what happens. So that kind of thing, I don't want to know. I don't want that in my head. I do all this negativity, right? Just stay away from it all. Stay away from all these messages and videos and this, that, the other. It just preoccupies the mind, gets you down, makes you feel all negative. Get away from that, gives you a lot of time. And alhamdulillah, when I leave WhatsApp, it gives me a lot of time to read and do my own thing, etc. I really like being off WhatsApp. So for work, I've got something called Slack. Please use Slack. Yeah, that's the best thing ever that I found. I set it all up for us here, and I like making everybody use it, which we do use, alhamdulillah. It's much more organized. Anybody know what Slack is? Put your hand if you know what Slack is. Oh, thank you. Use it at your work as well, alhamdulillah. So yeah, it's good. So, invest in that, guys. Get rid of WhatsApp, invest in Slack, and you'll find your life is a lot more organized. Look up, it's homework. Look up Slack and what this app or platform is, inshallah ta'ala. But we've come to Salat al-Maghrib, so apologies for going slightly over. And we'll conclude here. Jazakumullah khairan. Next week we'll come back to the Satan and dealing with shaitan and whispers. There's quite a bit of things to discuss there. We can't discuss them today. And also the nafs. These are two big topics. They're more related together, as you can see. So we'll leave that till next week, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you for coming, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One announcement. There's lots of announcements. I would like to announce one thing. Burda night, Saturday the 27th of April, this following Saturday, not this Saturday coming, the one after, Saturday. Ladies special for Sha'ban in preparation for Ramadan. It's just a few days before Ramadan, alhamdulillah, or a week or so. And we hope that we can prepare you with Shaykh Khanashin for the ladies for this special month and how to benefit from the month of Ramadan. And also obviously the blessings of Sha'ban and obviously this recitation of a poem in praise of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam by Imam al-Busiri rahimahullah ta'ala. And just to mention, in our Inshad classes for the boys, the instructor, he did a beautiful thing. He said that the person who memorized the Qasida Burda, he'll pay for a ticket for that individual to go to Egypt to visit the maqam, the resting place of Imam al-Busiri. And he's genuine, and alhamdulillah, it's from his own accord. But he's given them a 5 month, obviously he's got to be fair, he doesn't go bankrupt, because 20 kids might memorize it. He's giving them a 5 month window, and already I think 2 or 3 boys have memorized like, it's 160 lines. They memorized like 30, 40 lines already. So I think some of them, and then he was like, the parent ticket is included. So parents would have to go with it, of course, right? But it's a beautiful, incentive he's given them, right? I think he's given Umrah incentive as well. He's given a few prizes, which is really nice. Because it's it puts a lot of love for the children into that praise of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is really refreshing to the heart. It really builds your iman. The companions praised the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All the early Muslims did. The Prophet made dua for those who praise him. The Prophet made dua for Sayyidina Hassan when he would cast poetry in praise and defense of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Imam Busiri was honored with the vision and the cloak of the Prophet ﷺ through this poem. So it's a beautiful event to come to. It's one of those events that you want to be in that place, that the lights and illuminations and the blessings just spread like around that place. So be here on Saturday, the 27th of April, ladies. It'll be really beneficial for you, your families, your children. Bring everyone along, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallah.